Ring Brothers and Barnum and Bailey's, but this weekend, the P1 Circus is coming to town. Round 4 of the P1 SuperStock Championship makes its traditional 4th of July stop here in stunning Sarasota. And it's sure to be an explosive weekend. But previously in St. Pete.
And here you see just how close they are as they're topping out at 72 miles an hour. They are side by side. Oh, Geico gets the boat up on its side. Checkered flag is out. The win goes to Frank and Als Pizza with Frank Silva and Tony Ionata. Let's take a look at the standings. After St. Pete Beach, 9 points separate the top 4 teams with Frank and Als Pizza on top, followed by Visit St. Pete Clearwater, Team Barbados, and Southeastern Lighting Solutions.
Frank Silva was keen to remain calm after their inaugural weekend win in St. Pete Beach. So, how does he feel going into the weekend on top of the table for the very first time? Do they see themselves as serious title contenders?
You know, last week you guys asked, you guys don't look too excited. Well, you know what? 5 points is just, it makes you even more nervous because the guys are so close to you, So we would have liked that 5 extra point cushion, but we're going to get it today.
One team causing quite a stir this season is Geico. Although driver Brian Main is new to boat racing this season, he's proving he's no stranger to competitive motorsport and tough all-out racing.
The challenges for me, this is the first time I've ever raced a boat, and the thing that I'm having the toughest time getting used to, just not being able to see. In cars, you might not be able to see through the car in front of you, but you can at least see the car in front of you. So when you're tucked up tight in these race conditions, you see a wall of water. So picking, your point and seeing the next buoy, you're kind of, looking for it, waiting for it to come, and then you're like, oh, that was a little late, turn in. But overall, it was racing. It was a really good time. I'm learning right now. This Geico boat here is just as fast as the other ones. We should be in the mix.
Geico and Frank and Als Pizza aren't the only 2 teams gunning for the title with just 2 rounds to go. The racing has been so close this season that any of the top 8 teams could conceivably win the championship.
We can win it all. We've had a little talk to Frank and we told him what we're going to do to him, and he's going to be on the tail end of us this weekend.
Well, we've had our share of troubles, but yeah, we're still in it to win it.
I come to win every single race. We're behind in the points, but I never give up.
We've been struggling. We had a few issues with the boat. We got them sorted out. We're starting on the pole today, and we're here to win.
We want the championship, and we want it bad, and we want the checker flag.
Well, enough of the fighting talk. Let's see who can punch their way to the top in race 1 and head over to our commentator, Martin Sanborn.
Thank you, Deanna. And this is a big weekend for Sarasota Ford competing in their hometown event. The boats are on the course, but let's take a look at this track here in Sarasota. Running right along Lido Beach, just over 1.5 miles long, a run into turn 1 and 2, a long back straightaway with a right-hand dogleg into 4, 5, and 6, lining them back up to head to the start-finish line. On board with Team Barbados as we have a green flag and we are underway with race number 1 here in Sarasota. Just off to the right-hand side, you saw Spectra Powerboats. On the inside is Frank and Jimmy's propellers. As Team Barbados coming from the west, heading towards the beach, you see Charlie Parsons Young looking over his shoulder to see where the competition is as they make their way into the beach and that first left-hand turn. Team Barbados out front right now. Side by side are Spectra Powerboats and Frank and Jimmy's propellers. But Spectra Powerboats making a move. They're now solidly in second place and challenging to get up alongside Team Barbados. You see them just starting to top out at 71, 72 miles an hour, coming up towards that left-hand turn at the beach. Spectra Powerboats on the outside, Team Barbados on the inside, as they both pull away from Visit Jacksonville and Frank and Jimmy's propellers. Visit Jacksonville now just to the right outside of Spectra Powerboats. But Spectra now is almost side by side with Team Barbados as they come up to the left-hand turn. You see just how close those boats are. Inches separating them at 70 miles an hour. They are now side by side, but Team Barbados carries the momentum on the inside. Spectra Powerboats on the outside as they are virtually deck to deck. On board with Frank and Jimmy's propellers, but just off to their side is Visit Jacksonville as we go on board Team Geico, as they are just getting hosed down by Rooster Tails towards the back of the pack here at the start. Spectra Powerboats dove to the inside of Team Barbados, but that puts them on the outside of the right-hand dogleg. On board Southeastern Lighting Solutions, they go across the wake of Visit Jacksonville, trying to find a line that they like as they come up to that right-hand dogleg. Visit Jacksonville will have the inside lane as we go back to our leaders. Team Barbados by a boat length over Team Spectra. And you see Spectra Powerboat looking over their shoulder there. That was Frank and Jimmy's propellers. And Spectra Powerboats now on the outside of that right-hand dogleg, but they will now have the inside lane coming up to turn 4, 5, and 6. On board Team Barbados, you see Frank and Jimmy's off to their right, now diving in behind them, but just off to their left-hand side, that is Spectra Powerboats. They are side by side. Frank and Jimmy's running in third place, just to the outside of the wake of the two leaders, and Spectra Powerboats now moves into the lead. Craig and Kate Wilson out front. Second place is Team Barbados as Frank and Jimmy's dives across the wake of Team Barbados. Spectra Powerboats now out front. Team Barbados on the outside, and Frank and Jimmy's propellers tries to dive to the inside and get past Barbados as well. Barbados has them by about a boat length as they come across Lido Beach. As we go on board Frank and Als Pizza, they are currently the points leaders in the championship. Frank Silva and Tony Ionata staying to the outside of the wake, trying to find some hard water. As we take a look at Team Barbados, currently running in second place, James Norville and Charlie Parsons Young. And they are now following the line of Spectra Powerboats. James Norville and Charlie Parsons Young, they have won the championship in the UK as well as the US. Currently running in second place. Off to their left is Team Frank and Jimmy's propellers as we look at our leaderboard with Spectra Powerboats out front. Team Barbados trying to stay on the inside of that wake. But we look at Spectra Powerboats out front, and Frank and Jimmy's drives by Team Barbados on the inside. Team Barbados went wide and gave that inside lane to Frank and Jimmy's propellers, and they took it. But Team Barbados dives across the wake and tries to make it up and get back to the inside lane. As we go on board with Team Geico, see some nice driving by Brian Main. You see just how close he was getting to that turn buoy. And back to our leader in Spectra Powerboats, Kate and Craig Wilson. And another move happening on the race course. Southeastern Lighting Solutions with Walter Cox and Jamie Cantor. They now drive past Team Barbados and move into third place. As Spectra Powerboats out front in this fourth of 5-lap heat. And on board with Team Barbados, James Norville and Charlie Young, they are dropping back. As the white flag comes out for Kate and Craig Wilson in Spectra Powerboats, they are out front. Clean water for Spectra Powerboats as they make their way around the race course. This year, all of the boats powered with the Mercury 300 XS Optimax, as the entire series is brought to you by Mercury Racing. Looking at Frank and Jimmy's propellers, currently running in second place, and they are here from Morehead City, North Carolina. But right now, the checkered flag is in sight for Spectra Powerboats. Kate and Craig Wilson on their way to their first win of the season here in the P1 SuperStock Championship Series. And the checkered flag is out, and there's the win for Spectra Powerboats in heat number 1 here in Sarasota. Second place goes to Frank and Jimmy's Propellers, with third place going to Southeastern Lighting Solutions. Let's take a look at the official results for heat number 1. The win goes to Spectra Powerboats, followed by Frank and Jimmy's Propellers, Southeastern Lighting Solutions, Team Barbados, Frank and Als Pizza, and Geico.
You said the Wilsons are here to win, and you certainly did.
Yes, we did.
Like I said last year, and I will say it this year, we've had some bad luck. We've not had great finishes, but this is a big place to do it, a big stage to do it on, and we're going to rise to the occasion like we just did in race 1.
1 race down, 3 to go. But this weekend is not just about the racing. In fact, Sarasota hosts a whole weekend of events, all for a great cause.
Every year this event has grown from what started as a boat race offshore has turned into a multi-event week that everybody can enjoy. Well, Suncoast Charities for Children every year from proceeds raised from this race provides a grant to the Suncoast Foundation, and that in turn helps support 5 area nonprofits here in the Sarasota community, serving over 8,000 clients with special needs.
Don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we'll be bringing you 3 more superb SuperStock races. Welcome back to Sarasota this beautiful 4th of July weekend. We've got packed beaches and an international field of racers ready to entertain them. Current champions Team Barbados are here all the way from the UK, and this is their 5th consecutive weekend racing both here and in the European Series. Having dropped to 3rd in the standings, is it finally taking its toll? James, you've had Jacksonville, Aalborg, St. Pete, Scotland, and now Sarasota. Have you got anything left to bring to the racing weekend?
I do hope so. We've got 3 more races. I didn't perform particularly well in the last race. We pulled off pretty well, and then I don't know if it was just tired or lazy, but let Craig through, let 55 through. So not a good race for us. It's been a tough few weeks, but we wouldn't be here if we didn't think we could win.
Well, the crowds are certainly having a good time on the beach. Let's see how the teams do on the water and head over to Martin.
Thanks, Deanna. Let's take a look at that race course one more time here in Lido Beach. A run up into turn 1 and 2, a long back straightaway into a right-hand dogleg at turn 3, then 4, 5, and 6 on the north end of the race course, line them back up towards the start-finish line. As we invert the field from the previous start, we have a green flag and we are underway. On board with Spectra Powerboats, Craig and Kate Wilson, as they took the win in heat number 1. Geico has the inside lane with Frank and Als Pizza, then Southeastern Lighting Solutions, Visit Jacksonville, Spectra Powerboats, Team Barbados, and Frank and Jimmy's. As number 94, Visit Jacksonville, jumps out to the lead as they head towards the beach. And we go back on board with Craig Wilson and Kate Wilson, as they are now side by side with Visit Jacksonville. They got by him by about a half a boat length at the start-finish line, as Trent Gallen giving Richie Webster some directions on the Visit St. Pete Clearwater boat. Frank and Als Pizza to the inside of Visit Jacksonville. They've gotten ahead of Spectra Powerboats, but here comes Spectra around the outside. Spectra will now have the inside lane coming up to that right-hand dogleg as they're on the back straightaway. Craig Wilson goes a little bit deep in that turn, setting himself up for that right-hander. Visit Jacksonville has him by just a nose, but Spectra Powerboats has the inside lane coming up to turn number 3. Spectra Powerboats has just a little bit of boat speed, but Jacksonville responds, holding their own, but they're now to the outside on that right-hand dogleg as Spectra Powerboats moves ahead by a boat length. And there is a battle shaping up for 3rd and 4th place. Frank and Als Pizza side by side with Team Barbados. Frank and Als Pizza has that outside edge as Team Barbados just inches by. Frank and Als Pizza's Frank Silva and Tony Iannata Team Barbados is James Norville and Charlie Parsons Young. They have that inside lane. But out front again, Kate and Craig Wilson in Spectra Powerboats. But at the end of race number 2, it was once again Spectra Powerboats that will take the win. Kate and Craig Wilson way out front of the fleet. As we wrap up race number 2 here in Sarasota. Let's take a look at our official results. The win goes to Spectra Powerboats with Visit Jacksonville in second place, Team Barbados in third, followed by Frank and Als Pizza, Visit St. Pete, Clearwater, and Geico. And right back out to the race course. And we have a green flag. They weren't lined up as nice as you would have thought they would have been. And out front right now is Spectra Powerboats and Frank and Als Pizza. Right between them is Visit Jacksonville. But Frank and Als Pizza is the boat that got the jump, as the starter let him go. Geico on the far outside. On the far inside, Team Barbados. Just off to the left-hand side of Spectra Powerboats. Way to the inside there is Visit St. Petersburg Clearwater. As Visit Jacksonville looks off to their left and sees Spectra Powerboats moving ahead by just about a half a boat length. And we have a side-by-side battle right now between Visit Jacksonville and Frank and Als Pizza as they make their way to that first left-hand turn right along the beach. Team Barbados, they dive to the inside. They're looking for the inside lane. As we go on board Frank and Als Pizza, you see their view just off to the left there, Visit Jacksonville. Team Barbados had the inside lane. They're required to hold their lanes through the first turn. So once they clear the first turn, they were able to lane change. Team Barbados waited, dove to the inside, but out front once again, Spectra Powerboats picking up right where they left off in the last heat. You see Craig Wilson having to do a lot of work on that wheel. Little bit bumpy out there, but not bad. Frank and Als Pizza to the outside. Visit Jacksonville on the inside. They're currently running in second place, but they've got just off to their side is Team Barbados. Frank and Als Pizza currently running in third place, but they'll have that inside lane going to the right-hand dogleg. Team Barbados just to their outside, trying to find clean water between the wake of Visit Jacksonville and Frank and Als Pizza. There you see the gap between first and second, but a strong battle right there between second, third, and fourth as Team Barbados swings to the outside. They're trying to get a good inside lane going up to turn 4, 5, and 6. Spectra Powerboats gets to control the lane. They have clean water. Visit Jacksonville in second place. Frank and Als Pizza comes across, squeezes Team Barbados. Barbados just getting a hose down. The water coming off the back of that boat. Almost looked like they stuck the nose. A little bit of downforce coming off of that wake, just pushing them down. Holding their line through that turn as we go back to our leader. Spectra out front, followed by Visit Jacksonville, then Frank and Als Pizza. On board Visit Jacksonville, they're trying to find clean water, but the reality is Spectra Powerboats picking the best line, and that's almost where you got to go. Visit St. Pete Clearwater, they now drive by Team Barbados and move themselves into fourth place. Team Barbados has the inside lane as they just inch back up alongside Visit St. Petersburg Clearwater. Trent Gallen and Richie Webster as they swing wide to the outside, trying to find clean water. Team Barbados, they're on the inside. They've got a little bit sloppier water. Creates a little less propeller efficiency as we go back on board with our leader, Craig and Kate Wilson. Barbados taking the same line as Frank and Als Pizza as we see Visit St. Pete Clearwater peel off to take their long lap. But Team Barbados swings way deep in the turn, trying to carry as much speed as they can. Doesn't seem like the fastest way around the race course as we go on board Frank and Als Pizza, but Team Barbados carried a lot of speed and made up some ground as they are trying to close in on Frank and Als Pizza. Back on board with the Wilsons and Spectra Powerboats as they've cleared the right-hand dogleg. They head towards 4, 5, and 6, and the run back to Lido Beach. On board with Team Barbados, they have managed to get past Frank and Als Pizza, and they are now trying to make a run on Spectra Powerboats. As they just ride right on the edge of the wake, they carve a little harder turn. Now they're trying to take the shorter way around the race course, but it's the Wilsons that carry the momentum on the outside. Team Barbados goes right through the wake, goes all the way to the outside of the Wilsons in Spectra Powerboats. James Norville and Charlie Parsons Young, they are on the outside along the beach. As we take a look at Geico, currently running back in 6th position. And we're on board with Walt Cox and Jamie Cantor in Southeastern Lighting Solutions. Little off the pace this weekend. They were in the hunt early in the championship. And Visit Jacksonville has gotten past Team Barbados. They're now in 2nd place. As Spectra Powerboats rounds turn 3 one more time, that right-hand dogleg on the back straightaway, heading towards 4, 5, and 6. You see the perfect right attitude of that boat. Little bit bumpy conditions, breaking water just forward of the step. As he makes that left-hand turn, heading towards the start-finish line. And the checkered flag is out. Spectra Powerboats takes their 3rd win here in Sarasota. What an amazing weekend for Spectra Powerboats and Kate and Craig Wilson. The brother and sister team from Stuart, Florida take the win. Let's take a look at our official results for race number 3 here in Sarasota. The win goes to Spectra Powerboats, followed by Visit Jacksonville, Frank and Als Pizza, Team Barbados, Visit St. Pete Clearwater, and Team Geico.
Today it was rough, I was scared, and then I just look over at Craig and I look at Dad and I'm like, all right, it's a generation that I've got to keep going.
My philosophy is if you're a racer, you come to win. 3 out of 3, can't ask for any more than that, so hopefully it'll win us the weekend.
Well, it did win Spectra the weekend, but race number 4 was canceled, leaving the standings looking like this. Spectra takes the win overall with 3 straight wins, followed by Visit Jacksonville, Team Barbados, Frank and Als Pizza, Visit St. Pete Clearwater, and Geico.
But this is all about an overall championship. So after 4 rounds here in Sarasota, the points shake out like this. Frank and Als Pizza out front by 5 points, followed by Team Barbados, Visit St. Pete Clearwater, Spectra, Southeastern Lighting Solutions, and Geico.
We came here to win 4 of them. We won 3, 1 was cancelled, but they're telling me they've given us a make-up one in Isla Morada. And if the other racers were smart, they'd be looking at the table points right now because we've come up. We've played snakes and ladders, and I've hit that ladder all the way to the top.
A great weekend for Spectra here at the Sarasota Powerboat Grand Prix. Brother-sister team Craig and Kate Wilson finally made it to the top step of the podium. We'll see you next time for the final round in Isla Morada.